Hey guys, how's it going? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides, and as you can see, we're back in my classroom today, and I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of messages, people wanting to know which Subaru WRX STI is the best for them. As you are probably aware from watching maybe some of my other vlogs or other videos, I've owned quite a bit of Subarus over the years, specifically the WRX STI, and I'm not saying that I'm an expert. I'm not saying that I know everything about Subaru and the WRX STI, but I'm here to give you my feedback about which one of these models would be the best for you. Now, as you probably are aware, or if you haven't, here's a little bit of history. The United States did not get a WRX STI until 2004. That really was the pinnacle of the styling of the STI in my eyes. If you look 2004, 2005, that really is that pure rally bred STI. Remember, with anything from 2004 all the way to 2007, you get one color choice with that interior no matter what the outside of the car is, and that's that World Rally Blue. You get the World Rally Blue seats, which are blue and black. You get the blue carpet interior. So that's something that some people love, some people really don't love. In the 04-05, like I said, styling for sure, it is purebred styling. If you are looking for something that's gonna be a daily driver, just be aware that the 2004, 2005, really up to the 2007, that Impreza was a smaller Impreza. I mean, if you park an 04 next to a 2018 STI, you will clearly see the difference in the size. In 04, there were some issues with mounting welds for the transmission in the car. But if you're buying an 04, 05, or any of these older ones, it's not about, what were the problems when the car was sold? Because a lot of times, those things, now that it's 2018, those things are already rectified. So my advice is when you're looking at these, I would probably spend a little bit more to get a lower mileage car and a car that has not been modified. That's the problem. Because it's been 14 years since the STI hit the showroom floors, those cars, a lot of them have transferred hands, transferred ownership, and you just don't know what somebody did when it came to the mods, when it came to the tuning. So my advice, if you're gonna go with any of these, especially the older ones, try to spend a little bit more, and I think if you spend a little bit more, you're gonna get a lot more in return. But expect that tighter interior. Subaru's never really been known for their stereos. The interior appointments. If you look at an 08 compared to an 04, major difference, major difference. So if you're really looking for that ultimate in Subaru styling, that rally WRC styling, you watch Colin McRae, you watch Richard Burns and Peter Solberg racing WRC, and you want that traditional Subaru WRX STI, you really can't beat the 04, 05, especially when it comes to that styling. Now, in 2006, they did do a mild refresh. They changed the front nose of the car, and that's why sometimes people refer to the 04, 05 as the blob eye because of the shape of the headlights. 06, 07 is the hawk eye because they kind of tweaked up the front of the nose of the car. And that's what you'll notice is between these different iterations with the years up here, you'll notice that Subaru, when it comes to styling, it's like almost like every 2 years or so, they take the current body and they tweak it somehow. Now remember, whether you're buying an 04 or in 2018, it's that same 2.5 liter flat 4 turbocharged engine. Now, when it comes to the 04 to 06, that one had a totally different mapping on the ECU. In '07 is when they went to a new ECU format. And that's where we start to see some problems arise. You know, the mid-20s, the mid-2000s, mid-20s, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but the mid-2000s was an interesting time technology-wise. Not only when it comes to our cars, but also our cell phones and all that computer technology. So what they were using in '04 to '06, the programmers, the tuners, they were used to that kind of stuff. They knew what to expect. In '07, when they switched the format, that's when we start to see issues. So if you want that traditional Subaru Impreza body style, the one that harks back the best to the WRC days, the one that really, where Subaru made its name, go for an '04 to an '07. Just be aware about the interior is not going to be up to 21st century standards. As long as you're cool with that, I'm cool with it. But do know that you are getting that ultimate in the traditional Subaru setup when it comes to how the car drives. Obviously, all these years have full-time all-wheel drive and all that. Now later, obviously, as you get from '06 into '08 and all that, you start to see some changes where you could actually control that center differential. And then in '08, there's some more changes, which I'm going to mention in a second. So 2008 was revolutionary. Now, what I find funny is that in '08, when they switched to the hatchback, there were a lot of people that were complaining because people were used to the Subarus from 2004 to 2007, which was a sedan. 2008, the Subaru WRX STI got larger and it became a hatchback. No longer could you get it in a sedan. Now, what's interesting about 2008 to 2010 is that there was a distinct difference between the styling of the STI compared to the WRX. The STI was much more narrow. If you parked a WRX STI next to a WRX, you could see just how flared the fenders are. And that's what drew me, because I had an '06, I got rid of the '06 and I got a 2008 because I'm a big, huge racing fan and rally fan. And when I saw that '08 for the first time, it had those huge flared fenders that looked and mimicked what you saw on the WRC stages. So you're gonna get that really awesome styling. Now, one problem that did happen is that thing, like I was telling you about back in 2007 with the ECU. Major, major, major dip in the power. When you get on the acceleration, the boost, there was something, you know, obviously Subaru has to put a map on the ECU to where it's tuned to get through emissions testing, and flat four engines are harder to get through emission testing rather than say an inline four. So the map and the way that it was tuned, there was a huge dip in the power curve. And during this time is where we start to, you know, '07 into '08 is where we start to see that ringlet issue pop up. Now, like I said, I've owned a bunch of Subarus, all STIs. I put tons of miles on them. Some I had some mods, some were stock. Never had a problem with ringlets. So it's one of those things that you gotta just be careful what you're doing to the car and find out the history of what did the previous owner did to the car if you're buying into these older options. Even though it had that issue, the interior from 2007 to 2008, totally different, a world apart. You had these beautiful leather and Alcantara seats, the nice stitching, the updated dash. Yes, the stereo was updated. Was it anything to write home about? No. But you did have the versatility of the hatchback. So that was something that was cool. And they ran that design from '08 to 2010, 2008 to 2010. One thing a lot of people didn't love was the front end of the car, the way that below the lower grille, it was just this black plastic area that had these fog lights and these weird silver painted trim pieces around the fog lights. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. When I saw it, like I said, I fell in love with it. It really, you still had the option of getting those gold BBS wheels, which is something that I'm missing after 2010. That option was hard to come by until later in 2015 with the limited edition. But anyways, just be careful and be known that you're going to run into that issue. If it has a stock map on it, on that tune, when you get on the gas, there is that major dip. It's major. 2015, they've rectified it for the most part, but 2008 to 2010, major dip. Did I still enjoy it, loving the car? Yes, you had the SI drive. This is the first year of SI drive where you could adjust how you want the power delivery to come in, and you then further had better controls. The fit and finish of that center diff was much nicer than in the previous year. One thing that this may sound corny to you that Subaru wound up doing is they stopped painting the STI badge on the intercooler. To me, that just was something cool. When you pop the hood, you see that top mount intercooler and it said STI. You can get a stencil and some heat resistant paint and paint that on there. Also, they got rid of the intercooler washer. So 04 to 07, something that was from the rallying is that, to keep that intercooler extra cool, you could fill up a container in the trunk with water and actually hit a sprayer button, which would spray the intercooler, which was kind of neat. Did I use it? Not really, but it was just, it's just cool to have because, like I said, I'm a huge rally fan and I love buying things that have that crossover between what's being rallied and what's being driven on the street. Are WRX STIs the same thing as the World Rally Car? No. But it was just something that for me is exciting to have. And I always like looking for features like that in cars. So as you can see, 2, guess what? After 2010 and 2011, they did another refresh. Now what they did is the refresh, they actually carried over to the WRX. So this is where the WRX and the STI are gonna look very similar. Obviously the WRX has smaller wheels, different gearbox, different setup overall. It doesn't have the computer controlled diff, the center diff, none of that. So in 2011, I really liked what they did to the front end of the car. Another big thing which might be a concern for you is, like I said, in 08 to 10, there was no sedan option. In 2011, they brought back the sedan option. So now was the first time ever in the history of the WRX STI here in the States where you could have a hatchback or a sedan. So if sedan is something you want, you're definitely gonna have to shoot for that 2011 to 2014 because no sedan here. And like I said, WRX and the STI, physically on the outside, very similar. And still that same engine, same power delivery, still had that issue with the dip. When you get on the gas, you get that dip in the power. It's all about trying to get the cars through emission testing. If you go and get the car tuned, that could be all rectified. Just go make sure you're going to a good tuner. 2014 is it. That was it for that design. The hatchback was gone. 2015, all new WRX STI. I really felt that the 2015 compared to my 06 were the closest. My 08 and the 06 were quite different, but there was a little bit more similarity from my 2015 compared to my 2006. I really loved the styling. I was glad that they just had the sedan. I like the hatchback. It'd be cool to have both options, but I was happy with the sedan. I wish they would have had the option of the gold wheels. My problem was I didn't get mine until January of 2015. The limited came out in May of 2014. So some 2015 models, like the limited, actually came out halfway, a little bit more than halfway through 2014. So something to think about with that. But with the limited, you get the gold forged BBS wheels, that World Rally blue paint, no sunroof, nice features like that, if that's something that you're going for. Interior wise, another major leap up. The dash is so much nicer. I really love the cluster pod with the boost gauge and all the different functions you could go through. The steering wheel's great. The dash is amazing. The speedometer, everything. Any of these years, Subaru has hit the nail on the head with the pedal placement. You could heel-toe downshift so easily with these cars. It's just a wonderful experience if you know how to do that. Now, 2015 to 2017, guess what? That dip is gone. That dip that was originally in that power curve is gone. You still have the SI drive, you still have the computer-controlled electronic diff that you can control, or leave it in that automatic where the computer's gonna do it for you. 9 out of 10 times people just leave that alone. Remember, on any of these with that controllable diff, don't put it in full lock unless you are on dirt, gravel, or snow. You will mess up the diffs in that car if you drive on the street in full lock mode. Just something to be aware of. Another thing that's really nice in 2015 to 2017 is, you had that styling. It reminded me back to the older days, the way they did the styling. If you look closely, there are cues there. I know obviously size-wise, it's still much larger than the 2007 model. So with the 2015, what I really loved is if you look closely, there's a lot of styling cues that hark back to the early generations of the WRX STI. You gotta look closely, but they're there. Now, when it comes to the overall size, the 2015 is still larger than that previous earlier generation. But with the cues, if you look, they're there, and I could really appreciate that. All of these years had really amazing Brembo brakes, so no matter what year you get, the brakes in these cars are really balanced well and really have a nice progressive pedal feel. Now, what eventually wound up happening is in 2017, after that year, they then did a little slight refresh, which if you watch, I do have 2 2018 WRX STI reviews, one of a black one and one of a World Rally blue one. If you haven't watched those, click in that car review section and you'll see more in-depth reviews about that. Also, 2015 to 2017, if you want to get the limited, there's that special model for you. If you want a different type of exclusivity, they have the Hyper Blue limited edition STI, which they only made about 700 of those, and it's this really beautiful light blue and has all black accents on it, including the gloss black forged BBS wheels, which look really, really, really nice. So that's another special one. And there's other special ones color-wise, depending on the years. It's just really whatever floats your boat. Beauty, like I said, is in the eye of the beholder. In 2018, Subaru went back. If you notice, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, obviously a little bit longer than 2 here, 2. In 2018, they now did another mild refresh. They retweaked the front of the nose of the car. They, for the first time, put 19-inch wheels on a Subaru WRX STI. They updated the interior a little bit more. They put a little bit better head unit for the radio and for navigation. That's another thing. Navigation in these cars, the screens are absolutely terrible. I paid extra in 2015 to have the push button start and the keyless entry, and it came with navigation. I hated using it. Hated it. It was the worst. But I wanted push button start and I wanted keyless entry, so I paid the extra dough. And that's one thing that kind of bothers me in this whole thing, is that if you look at a lot of other car manufacturers, push button start comes stock, comes standard. Keyless entry comes standard. I don't know why you would have to pay that much extra in this package to get push button start. That's something that kind of bothered me. But for 2018, they updated that pod on top of the dash with your turbo boost gauge and your other controls that you could see within there. They made it larger, they made the screen much better. I really, really like now that finally we have a Recaro seat option for the first time in the STI. Just let it be known that I've looked at the seats, I've sat in them. They are more aggressive bolster-wise up top. I really, truly believe that the bottom portion of the seat is still the same Alcantara and leather standard seat in any STI. I think they just changed the back, to be honest with you. They worked with Recaro and had that, and it's fine. I just wish there was just a little bit more bolster on the hip leg area, because there's plenty now up top, which is nice. And I've always liked the fit and finish with the seat color. Ever since 2008, that Alcantara with the leather trim, it's a really, really nice touch. It's very classy, but sporty, and I really like that. Now, as you are also aware, for 2018 is that ultra, ultra rare Subaru WRX STI Type RA. That car is retailing for about $48,000. You're gonna get forged BBS 19-inch wheels, which are painted that traditional gold color. You're gonna get carbon fiber roof, a carbon fiber rear spoiler, and some other niceties. You get the Recaros, you get the STI front splitter, you get a different rear bumper section that has these cutouts in them. They make it look a little bit more distinctive. It's got the red pinstripe around the front grille area and around that diffuser area out back. It's got a less restrictive exhaust. It's got, for the first time, Bilstein dampeners on an STI. So, you know, it's up to you, first of all, if you can find one. It's also up to you if you feel like that's worth the extra money to get something so exclusive. But I'm sure a lot of them have already been pre-ordered and deposits have been put down, but you never know. So if you want the ultimate in Subaru, the best Subaru is coming out very shortly this year, that Type RA edition. It's only available in 3 colors: World Rally Blue, the white, and the black silica. From what I heard, black is gonna be the rarest color out of them all. But I hope that this gave you some type of idea of what Subaru WRX STI is best for you. Obviously, money's probably going to be a big factor. Like I said, I think that with any of these, it's a little bit better to spend a little bit more and get something that you really want, because there's that old saying, the cheap comes out expensive. And if you go and you get something that's a little cheaper, you might, who knows, have issues with it down the road. I don't know. Best thing to do is take any used car to somebody who knows what they're doing and have them examine it. It'll cost you probably around $100 or so, but it may save you thousands down the road. So I want to thank you guys once again for viewing this. Hopefully, like I said, it helped. If you have any other questions about the Subaru WRX STI, leave a comment in the comment section. Send me a message through my website, RaitiesRides.com. I am going to be doing some comparisons. I know some of you have asked, what is it like between my 2008 STI and my current Ford Focus RS? How does that play out? And then I also have some other great vlogs coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned for that. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. For all the current subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very, very much for watching. And like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.